Whisky.de. Treffpunkt feiner Geister.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen bei Whisky.de, dem Treffpunkt feiner Geister. Heute bin ich bei der Wild Turkey Brennerei. Und diese Brennerei hier ist neu. Sie wurde 2010 gebaut. Aber das Rezept und all die Grundstoffe, die Prozedur ist immer noch nach dem gleichen Rezept, das sie nach der Prohibition eingeführt haben. Das ganze Gelände ist sehr schön und wir werden jetzt einfach mal in die Produktion einsteigen und schauen, wie unser Wild Turkey Whisky gemacht wird. Wild Turkey legt großen Wert auf die Qualität des Getreides. Deswegen kommen die verschiedenen Getreiden aus verschiedenen Regionen. Dieses Rye, also der Roggen, kommt aus Deutschland, denn der beste Roggen wird in Deutschland gemacht. Alle Getreide sind nicht genmodifiziert und das ist besonders wichtig für Wild Turkey, da sie einfach einen natürlichen Whisky produzieren wollen. Das Wasser von Wild Turkey kommt aus dem Kentucky River, wird noch gefiltert und ist dann bereit für die Produktion. Das hier ist der Hefeanzuchtsraum. Hier die Donnertop, da wird die Hefe erstmal vergrößert von dem Hefe aus dem Labor, geht dann später in größere Hefekessel, die das Ganze nochmal vergrößern und später wird es in die Fermentierkessel gepumpt. Die Hefe von Wild Turkey ist über 61 Jahre alt und es ist eine besondere Art von Hefe, denn diese Hefe produziert weniger Fuselöle, die das Ganze den Whisky schlechter machen und man bekommt auch weniger Kopfweh davon. Außerdem haben wir hier in dieser Hefe einen besonderen nussigen Geschmack. Hier befinde ich mich beim Getreidekocher, wo die verschiedenen Getreidesorten bei verschiedenen Temperaturen gekocht werden. Das Besondere bei Wild Turkey ist, dass sie nicht unter Überdruck gekocht werden. Das heißt, die maximale Temperatur liegt bei 100 Grad Celsius. Das hier sind die Fermentierkessel von Wild Turkey. Sie haben 21 Stück davon und hinter mir ist das Produkt der Hefe. Das ist ein Bier mit ungefähr 10 bis 12% Alkoholgehalt und wie man hier sieht, hat sich dieser besondere Cake nicht geformt. Das ist normalerweise eine dicke Schicht, die starr auf dem Bier oben drauf liegt. Warum hat sich jetzt keine Schicht geformt? Das liegt daran, dass Wild Turkey eine besondere Hefe hat, die weniger Fuselöle produziert und außerdem wird hier auch nicht mit Überdruck gekocht. Also hat man hier diese Schicht nicht. Eine Besonderheit von Wild Turkey sieht man nicht oft. Die Column Still ist die erste Brennstufe bei Wild Turkey und sie besteht vollkommen aus Kupfer, hat 19 Schichten, ist 52 Fuß hoch und hat einen 5 Fuß Durchmesser. Wild Turkey ist besonders, weil sie nicht so stark destillieren. Die erste Brennstufe bei der Column Still destilliert auf 125 Proof, das sind dann 62,5% Alkohol. Und links sehen wir dann das Tailhouse mit den Low Wines, wo dann das Produkt der Column Still rauskommt. Dahinter ist noch der Doubler, der das Ganze noch hoch destilliert auf 128 Proof. Und das ist relativ wenig für die Industrie, aber Wild Turkey will ihren Whisky beim Abfüllen ins Fass nicht so stark verdünnen und deswegen destillieren sie den Whisky auch nicht so hoch. Hier wird eine Philosophie betrieben, das heißt, dass man das Wasser lieber durch das Mash durchschickt, als dass man es für die Verdünnung nutzt. Wir befinden uns im sensorischen Labor und hier werden Proben gezogen von dem neuen Destillat. Das wird dann aufgeschrieben, wie gut und wie sich das Ganze schmeckt und wie es riecht und wird dann auch noch mit den verschiedenen Fässern verbunden, sodass wir einen Feedback Loop haben und sehen, wie sich das Ganze entwickelt. Wir haben das Destilleriegebäude jetzt verlassen und diese Leitungen hier unter mir sind Leitungen, die in die Abfüllanlage gehen. Die Leitungen hier sind besonders toll, weil sie Tornado- und Hurricane sicher sind. Und nun werden die Fässer mit dem frischen Spirit befüllt. Hier kommen die Fässer rein. Es sind Weißeichenfässer, frisch mit einem Nummer 4 Char, das ist der stärkste Ausbrennen, das es gibt. Die Deckel sind Nummer 3, das ist der zweitstärkste. Und der Whisky wird hier rechts dann in die Fässer gefüllt. Bevor er abgefüllt wird, wird die Stärke nochmal reduziert auf 115 Proof, was dann 57,5% Alkohol sind. Und ganz links sehen wir noch eine Maschine, die die Fässer belabelt, wo dann überall drauf steht, wann diese Fässer befüllt worden sind und welcher Brennerei sie gehören. Nachdem die Fässer befüllt worden sind, geht es zu den Warehouses. Und das ist hier eine neue Fabrik und deswegen haben wir hier sehr schöne automatische Transportsysteme, sodass sich niemand an diesen extrem schweren Fässern verletzen kann. Wir befinden uns hier im Warehouse A. Das ist das älteste Warehouse, das Wild Turkey hat. Und dieses 7 Stockwerke, auf 7 Stockwerken lagert der Whisky in diesen Fässern und reift dann, um sich Bourbon nennen zu dürfen. Das Interessante ist, dass 90% der Fässer, die wir haben, später nach Irland verschifft werden, um dann den irischen Whisky darin weiter zu lagern. Man riecht hier schon, das ist richtig klasse. Das ist der Bourbon-Geschmack. Der landet dann später in den Wild Turkey Flaschen. Wir befinden uns hier im Tankraum, wo das ganze Vatting und Blending geschieht. Der fertige Whisky kommt rein und wird in diese Tanks gefüllt, um dann den Whisky auf die Trinkstärke zu reduzieren, was nur mit Wasser geschehen darf. In einen Bourbon darf niemals Geschmacksstoffe reinkommen, deswegen wird hier nur verdünnt. Wir sehen hier ein paar Geschmacksfässer rumstehen, außerdem gibt es da noch Honigtanks, die sind dann für die verschiedenen Liköre und außerdem wird in dieser Fabrik auch Wodka abgefüllt, die natürlich Geschmacksstoffe bekommen. Aber in unserem guten Bourbon, in unserem Wild Turkey, haben wir nur den Wild Turkey Whisky und Wasser. Teil der Abfüllung ist natürlich auch die Qualitätskontrolle und das ist natürlich sehr wichtig. Und hier wird alles gecheckt, von der Labelposition über die Zusammensetzung des Whiskys und auch die Farbe und ob irgendwelche Verunreinigungen drin sind. Ja, und hierfür gibt es viele Apparate, die alle verschiedene Dinge tun. Und hier sind wir wirklich in guten Händen. Also bei Wild Turkey bekommt man nur Qualitätswhisky. Ich befinde mich hier nun bei der Bottling Line von Wild Turkey. Sie läuft leider nicht, weil sie gerade zwischen den Abfüllungen ist und gerade die Flaschen eingestellt werden. Vorher hatten wir so eine Hip Flask, eine kleine, und jetzt werden wir dann den Rare Breed abfüllen lassen. Wir sind jetzt mit der Produktion fertig und jetzt probieren wir noch einige der guten Produkte. So, I'm standing here with Eddie Russell. You're already here at the distillery for 34 years. You're the 4th generation Russell, the 3rd generation working here. Yeah. So we have some great heritage here and some great experience. You will take us through a few of your products. So what do we got today?
So today we're first going to taste our Wild Turkey 101. This was the only product we had on the market up until the 70s. Most distilleries only had one product. Then we started introducing some different type products, some more high-end, some more hand-selected barrels. But this is our main product. It's a 101 proof. It is 7.5 years old on the average. So bourbon only has to be 2 years old, 4 years if you don't want to stay to age. The Wild Turkey, we tend to age things longer to get more flavor, more character in there. So this is the 101. So if you're looking at any type of whiskey, especially for a bourbon, the color has to be completely natural. We're the only whiskey in the world that can't add caramel color. So all that coloring comes from the barrel. It starts out white, just like water, a clear liquid, and then the barrel gives it the color. For me, a very important part of it is the nose. So you want to smell caramels, vanillas, maybe a little woody, smoky smell to it. So you want to have those things because your mind's already thinking it's going to taste good if it smells good. My dad always taught me, to smell with your mouth closed and then smell with your mouth open. You get some different type tastes. Sort of with your mouth open, you take away a little of that alcohol smell. But then, of course, the flavor. And what we're looking for in a bourbon whiskey, by aging it in that barrel, you're picking up vanillas and caramels. You're picking up a little bit of the wood, a little smokiness, and also just those great flavors that's coming from that barrel. I think traditionally for Wild Turkey, it'll start out a little sweet from the corn and the vanilla in the barrel, and then we want the spicy taste back here in the back.
Yeah.
So we want a journey, not just one flavor, but a journey.
I would say, yeah, you have that spicy taste.
Yep.
So how much does your yeast influence
The yeast does some. The most of the spiciness comes from the heavy rye content that we use in our mixture.
Okay.
So you got corn, rye, and barley malt in our bourbon, and we tend to use a little more rye than most people. So that's going to give it the spicy taste. Plus our proprietary yeast gives it a little more spiciness too. But a lot of that comes from the rye grain.
Okay, so great stuff. So you're now part of the Campari family. How does that influence your business and working here?
Yeah, it's been really great for us. Campari purchased Wild Turkey in 2009. Campari's an Italian company, and we're a very high priority for them. They really promoted us all over the world, not only here in the States, but as an export product. They put a lot of money behind advertising. They haven't tried to change anything about what we're doing here. So it's been very good for us in the money they've invested in this place. They've spent over $100 million since they bought it in 2009, built a new distillery, new bottling facilities, a new visitor center.
So that's great to know. So they give you the opportunity, they give you the exports, and you can focus on your bourbon.
That's right. And the
great.
good thing is they don't try to change anything about what we do. They say, you make the liquid, we'll get out there and sell it, which is a great thing for all of us.
Yeah, that's great. I had the 101. I liked it.
Yeah.
It has more flavor. So
Well, if you look at the history of bourbon, back in the beginning, everybody distilled at low proofs, bottled at high proofs, so it's much more natural product. And at Wild Turkey, that's what we're about. If you put a water to it and lower the proof down real low, you sort of take a lot of those flavors away. So this is more like right out of the barrel, very good taste and flavors.
yeah, that was the 128 proof, and you only diluted it a bit.
Yep.
So that's what we're talking about. We had it early in the video.
Yep.
So,
So the next one, what I'd like to taste here is Rare Breed. So this is a barrel proof whiskey, which means no water at all added. So this is right out of the barrel, filtered and put in a bottle. This has 6, 8, and 12-year-old whiskeys in it. Same recipe, same whiskey at the beginning, but different ages and different floors to give it different flavors. To me, this whiskey is what bourbon was about from the very beginning. It's a big, bold taste, but very smooth because it's been in the barrel long enough to give it all the great flavors you want. This batch right here is 112.8 proof. I've had batches as low as 108 up to 113. So that's where my barrel proofs, because we barrel at such a low proof. You can barrel at 125 and you can get up to 140 proof, but I want my barrel proof to be able to drink it without having to water it down.
Okay.
So on this one, the nose is even better because it's been in the barrel longer. You get a lot of caramel, a lot of vanilla right off front, but I think you get a little more smokiness.
Yeah. And I pretty much get oak.
You get some oak, and that comes from that 12 years of being in that barrel.
Definitely. That's 12 years of oak.
Yep.
How do you get the smokiness in there?
Well, that's from the charring of the inside of the barrel. So the barrels have to be burned or charred on the inside. So it's going to impart a little bit of smokiness to that.
But it's very light.
Very light,
Very light.
You don't want a lot of it. Then I think in the Rare Breed, it leaves such a great aftertaste in your mouth. It's a little more creamier or thick because it's older.
Oh yeah. And it's I don't know, I would say it's a
full bourbon.
It's a full-bodied bourbon, definitely.
It's not one of these light where you only have candy and
Yeah,
caramel
exactly.
and vanilla. Oh, now I got the finish. Oh, great finish with a lot of.
I think it
wood
has
and
one of the
rye.
best finish, and this is one that people that really love bourbon, this is what an old-fashioned bourbon tastes like.
Okay.
Big and bold and spicy, very full body, lots of flavor, but very smooth on the back end. This one sort of starts out a little more bold and really smooths out on the back, where I think our 101 starts out smooth and gets spicier on the back. So just some great flavors in the rare breed.
I get the creaminess in the finish. Some
That's from the age. It's going to get a little more creamy, a little thicker as you keep it in that barrel.
great stuff. So another question. I've seen your stuff a lot on TV. Like I've seen, I think in Navy CIS or somewhere else. Is that advertisement or are you just using the product?
Most of the time it's, I don't think our company's really sourced out or look for people to do that. Most of the time those shows are just looking at traditional, genuine products that they can back the story up with, and Wild Turkey is one of those brands that's been around forever. So I know they have a few shows here in the States. One's called Mad Men. It's about the 50s and 60s, and they have a lot of Wild Turkey on there. We have a local show that's done here in Kentucky about the Kentucky Sheriff, and he not only has Wild Turkey but some of the other bourbons. But it's not something that we go out and try to get. It's just more something that they're using to make things seem more authentic.
So it's just Wild Turkey is blended into society.
Yeah,
so you
exactly.
can't leave it out.
Yeah,
Okay, great. So this is a different mash bill now.
right. So I only have one recipe for my bourbon, one mash bill, and then I have one mash bill for our rye. Rye was what was originally made in the United States when it was first only up on the East Coast. Rye was the predominant grain. But as they came over and moved west, corn was predominant, so they started putting corn in their whiskey. So it gave it a little more sweeter taste and kept that rye in there to give that spiciness. So to be a straight bourbon whiskey, it has to be at least 51% corn. To be a rye, it has to be at least 51% rye grains. So the flavors are going to be completely different.
So we have more than 50% rye in this one.
More than 51% rye in there, if you're
Okay.
calling it a straight rye whiskey. So this one is going to be different from the bourbons, and you're not going to have as much sweetness. It's going to be more of a black pepper, earthy type taste, almost hints of mustiness, which is not good in a bourbon. So these are really made nowadays in the States. A lot of them use it for mixed drinks. Manhattans, old fashions, highballs, whiskey sours. The rye whiskey is what they were originally made with, so a lot of the mixologists are using the rye for that. This was something that 7 or 8 years ago you could only buy 3 ryes basically on a regular basis in the United States, and Wild Turkey was one of them, and we've always made it right here.
Okay.
But nowadays there's a lot of ryes, and they're growing more faster than bourbon is right now. They're very, very still a small part of our business, less than 1%, but they're growing at a very rapid pace right now.
So more spiciness.
Yeah, you're going to get, now we still have some corn and barley malts in there. You're going to get a little more, like I said, a little more black pepper, a little more earthy taste, a little more of that rye bread taste to it, a little more dryness. The aftertaste is a little more grainy, like I said, a little more earthy type taste, but a little peppery taste to it too.
I got the pepper. Definitely got the pepper. It's like a bread.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
It's like a bread
Yeah.
in the liquid form.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. It's got more body.
Oh yeah,
So,
rye's going to impart a lot more body to it because
Yeah.
and that's why we use a little more of my bourbon to give that body to it. But rye is a taste that's different than bourbon because there's not a lot of sweetness to it. And then, a lot of palates, the sweetness is what a lot of them like. So the rye was sort of a surprise to all of us that it's taken off and grown like it has.
So maybe for the someone who's maybe a bit more mature
Yeah.
and has more experience with bourbon and looks for something more exciting and with stronger
Traditionally,
flavors?
that's what it was in the past. Now it is a sort of a younger generation that are drinking
Really?
it in mixed drinks.
Ah, okay. Yeah, in mixed drinks you have
'Cause
the
it
other strong
really-
flavors, and then you need.
Yeah, it really comes through in a drink.
Yeah.
You know, because most people are adding some sweetness to a mixed drink, where this doesn't have the sweetness. You've got that taste that's going to come out and show in whatever
Yeah.
you mix it
You
with.
can do with more peppery.
Yeah.
So, Wild Turkey, do you have like, I don't know, do you sell more cases during Thanksgiving time or?
Well, traditionally in the States, you always sold more in the fall of the year.
Okay.
So people, after summer was over, the holidays coming up with Thanksgiving and Christmas, they were not only drank more, but giving us more gifts to different people. But in the colder months is a time where generally the public drinks a lot more of the bourbons. You know, something that's a little warmer, that warms you up, that makes you feel a little better.
Yeah, we see that also in Germany.
Yeah.
The worse the weather, the more people like to stay in,
Right.
being cozy,
Yep.
have a glass of whiskey. So, thanks for having us here.
Thank you. I appreciate everything.
It was a great trip here
Yep.
at Wild Turkey, and if you ever come to Kentucky, this here is a must. The distillery is very beautiful. You have great tours here, and yeah, thanks for watching. And if you liked the video, then give me a thumbs up.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Hopefully I'll be in Germany to see you guys someday.